Hello, today we're going to make a slideshow and okay, there we go. And learn about use state and use effect in React. So we only have 4 assets here, which are pretty much just cat pics. First, we need to set the state. Let's do a current slide and set current slide state. So let's go over this let's say statement one by one. First, where we are setting the variables of a variable that holds the value of the state that we want to manipulate, or this is pretty much a variable that we are manipulating, and another variable that always starts with set, a prefix, let's say, of set, that is, let's say, a function or a state setter that will pretty much manipulate this variable. And if we hover over it, you can see here it's a dispatch, which I'm not pretty sure what, but you get what I mean. It is a function of some sort. And then in this use state, what we can pass the parameter, a parameter of the default state, a default value or values of the state that we want to manipulate. For example, we have an object, const object, let's say name, then we can just pass it over here, object. Now to say here, object name. There we go. You can see that this current slide, or this variable of the first index, has the value of the parameter inside. But if we remove that, you can see that it is undefined because there is no parameter. And this is not a big deal. However, if you're working on big projects, you need to keep track of, well, your states. So either put the default state or know beforehand what you want to put inside. But of course, in TypeScript, this will not be allowed, and it will get annoying in the long run, but it's worth it. Anyway, so when we're dealing with slideshows, we want to have a number to slide between the images or contents. So we have a container here. It's time to make some HTML. So I'm going to make first the button, type button, of course, title, previous name, button, slide, what else? ID. Okay, ID of previous slide button. I'm used to setting full names for clarity. On click, yeah. So when we click on this button, we want to call upon the function of once control slideshow, the E, which is for mouse events. We will know about what the type is, but for now I'm going to set it to this. Then on click, we're going to have a callback function that will take this event, and then this function will call upon the control slideshow and pass in the parameter of E, as you can see. Let me just, there we go. You might know what type it is. I'll put it here. And what do you mean? What now? Huh. Well, There we go. So I needed to put React.mouse event. I see. Anyway, there's that. You can always just hover over the variable when there's an error in TypeScript and see what you need to, let's say, what type you need to put or assign to that variable. Anyway, now that we have that, let's say previous. There we go, we have it here. And then we can make the next button just says next. The ID. That's pretty nice. Next slide button. To go next. Forward to next slide. And then it's next. There we go. And I will style this later on. For now, we can control the state here. So we have a function. In bigger projects, it's let's say good practice to separate this function into a utils, let's say, folder. However, this is just a simple slideshow, so it will just have the function inside this component, and it's actually much more convenient. Although less readability, I guess, if we add more stuff inside. But anyway, I'm going to use a switch statement, and that will be target.id, and this is just what do you mean now? If I console.log target, it should show me the bottom. There we go. So why can't we say that? I don't know. Mouse event. Maybe if I remove this. Man, this is weird. Like, it's target. It's definitely showing the ID. Then what can we add? Nothing. Oh my god, this is weird. I'm not sure what that error is, but switch. I'm doing this because it's better practice to use the elements itself or the event itself that triggered this, so we can just get the ID, because IDs are unique, instead of, let's say, passing on a parameter of string inside. You can do that here because it's saying error. Say previous, and we can just say here next. Then we can just say here type of control, and then switch type of control. And in the case of previous, you can just say set current slide to previous and previous. So what this means here is that we're going to set the current slide to this value inside, and here in this thing here, a compound function, as you can see, an arrow function, we're going to take the value of the previous state, which is 0. Then we're going to run a function wherein we will have that previous state 0 add to 1, and the result of this will be the new value of the state, because we're setting the new state into this whole function. And what this function becomes is pretty much the new state. That is my current understanding. As you can see here. Okay. And of course, just like any switch statements, we break. And then case of next. I should remind us actually. So now if we console.log on the current slide, you can see that it is working fabulously. 1, 0, everything 1, 0, 1. There we go. Refresh. So this whole function is now working, which is nice. Okay, let me actually, let's say, what do you call this? Let me actually build the slideshow functionality wherein if we are at 0, then we set it to, well, the max index of the, what do you call this? Of the items that we're going through. So before I build the, let's say, the image holder, let us build or let us gather all the images. And to do that, we will put an index, either .js or .ts, and in this case we're using TypeScript, so .ts. And we're just going to import the images. We're going to assign variables to each image, so we can just say the name of that or the name of the image for each variable, and say alvan from alvan.jpg import arena JPEG, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. Export all of them as an object, or you know what, you can assign all of this to a slideshow objects, slideshow items, I mean. There we go, plus alvan. This should be an array actually, so an array, alvan, arena, and then export slideshow items. Then we will import that slideshow items. Okay, so now we imported the slideshow items, which is an array of all these links or all these relative paths to the images. So if we console.log slideshow items, you can see that it console logs all the items or all the relative paths to these images. Now, in here, we are setting it to previous. That means we have a possibility to go to the negative side or negative spectrum, let's say. So we can set, let's say, an if statement here. However, that would be bad. So just say const previous equals. So we don't need to take parameters here. So previous. So we are just going to do an if statement here. If current slide is equal to 0. Wait, is it equal to 0 or less than 1? That should be equal to 0. So when we are calling this function, if current slide is equal to 0, then we're going to set current slide to the slideshow items that length -1. So pretty much the maximum the maximum, or the last item rather, not the maximum, which is the third one. So the length is 4 minus 1 3, and we will get this right here. Else, there we go. So now if we console.log slide, so this is what I do every time. I just console log stuff, especially when errors occur. So now we click previous 3 2 1 0 3. There we go. It's working nicely. And we can do the same with the next functionality. So okay, we can just say next, and in here we say if current slide is equal, excuse me, I show items that length -1. So if it's at the last item, then we're going to set current slide to 0. We must reset it. Then there we go. So now we have all the functionalities. We can build the slideshow, just a simple one really. So we have the buttons here, which we can style. I'm going to have inner styles here na lang. I'm just going to have inner styles instead of a style sheet. I need to scroll. Let's say background, spine, border, 2 pixels, black, border, edges, and set to that. What else? That's form, uppercase, padding of 0.5, and font size of 1.5. So now if we put this inside the styles, this will be called an inline style. Hey, what do you mean? Yeah, this is an object. What the fuck? Man, I'm not really good at TypeScript. You can just ignore this one though. Well, you should really use external style sheets for projects, but you know, it's just a small one and we need to be quick, but I also need to learn this. This is an object though. Yes, you can see. What if I say what if I just put this inside? There's no error. What the? This is weirding me out. Oh, let's deal with that. There we go. Okay, that's too big. And I should also put the margin actually. Margin 0. There we go, and actually press it later. And over. You can do that. Then build it. This is a hassle. Okay, let's make an external style sheet. So it's the CSS, and then just reference it inside of you. Or you know what, we can do it in the main. Why not? I tried doing it inline, but it was much more difficult than doing it externally, so okay, button, border edges, and then border, text transform, everything's 0.5 margin. Well, not cursor pointer. And cursor. Right. Refresh, reset the state, and let's go build the images. Div last name of slideshow, or what's just slideshow container, and another div which would be the slider. Then we will loop through the images, map, and for each item going to return a JSX of image. And this is what practice what I'm going to do, which is assigning the key to the index of this loop. But for now, let's do it like this. No idea, so let's just wait, what's this? Really? Ah, I see. That's interesting. Anyway, what's this blank? Why is it not showing up? Oh, never mind. It's showing. It's just too big. Oh my god. Okay, let me fix that. So we have the slideshow container. Which will give a width of, say, gram, telegram, 50, say 60%. And then inside of this would be the slider, right? Yeah. So we'll have a position of relative here and position absolute and overflow. And for all the images, we'll have 100%, not 100% of its parent container. Of its parent container and an object fit. Okay, where did that go? Because I didn't set the height. The height should be much just twice as long as we're dealing with portraits. There we go. Now we have this cute little, let's say, thing. I'm actually put the buttons beside each other. There we go. And I'm actually give this a margin. And the border radius. There we go. Alright. Okay. So since the slider is positioned, wait, I think it's the images that we need to, okay, wait, that's my bad. This slider should be inside the, because it is the parent of the images, of each image, rather. There we go. We'll give this a key. We'll give the key to the parent always. And why this is bad practice to set the index in a list is that if we have a functionality of removing items from a list, let's say we have a list of to-dos and we set the keys, unique keys of each to-do into its index. And in the first place, you need to set the key or a key in React so that React can keep tabs or can watch all the list that it looped through. And if we have an index as the key, then if we remove items then and add new ones, then React will think that the current list did not change at all because the keys are still the same. If you remove one and add one, or whenever you add one, something is removed, stuff like that. Anyway, so now we can see that. There we go. Yep. Wow. Okay, and I'm actually going to make use of this index, so can use a class name. Okay, I'm just going to use the class name technique. So make this dynamic and class name index equal to current slide, and block, else hidden. So in Tailwind, this will pretty much just be it, but we need to set up the properties. So hidden is display none and block. Well, display block. There we go. Next, there we go. We have a functioning we have a functional slideshow. However, what if we want to make this automatic? Okay, what if we want to make this automatic? What can we do to make this automatic? Oh my god, it's lagging. I'm not sure less than this to 20 rand. There we go, much better. It was lagging tremendously. I don't know why. Oh, it's I'm recording. Anyway, to make this automatic, we need to have use effect. Use effect. Slide. This way. So we're going to have a timeout here. Once timeout equal set timeout. So in here we can have a speed of whichever speed we want the slideshow to go next, say every second. And this is the important part of use effect in React. We need a cleanup function. Oh, oops. Which will pretty much just be a cleanup or a cleaner. So what this does is that first we will run this function, which is the timer, and then when this component finishes rendering, so when the component renders, we will have this, and then after the component finishes rendering, we will return this use effect with a callback function that calls the stuff inside of this callback function, which are the things that you need to clean up. So let's say you have a timeout or an interval, which of course you need to assign a variable to clear. We can say that when the component finishes rendering, we will clear the timeout so that there won't be any memory leaks, or that we can prepare for the next render, or for the next time that the state inside changes, because we are assigning a state change here. Dependency arrays. So if we don't assign any dependency array, this slideshow will only run when the page loads. But if we assign or when this component renders, but if we assign a dependency here, this will run not only when the component renders, but also when the state or the variables inside this dependency array changes for each one. That's why we need this, so we won't have any unpredictable stuff going on. Anyway, for each second, we are going to and I'm also setting that we're going to change this when current slide changes. Oh wait, yeah, this is correct. So if so here's the current line. Oh, we're just going to call next actually. Next. There we go. So now as you can see, there we go. Every second. And I should actually remove this method. Because whenever we change the state, this component renders already, so this use effect is being called upon. Right? Oh, never mind. Oh my god. There we go. It should do it every second. One. Okay. That is a bug, isn't it? So I do this. Is it just lagging or what? I'm not too sure if it's just lagging, but let's try 100 for 100 milliseconds. Refresh the page. There we go. Okay, it's not. Alright. Or let's just say 2 seconds. Ah, there we go. There we go. We have a functioning slideshow now. So what if we don't have a return function here and we just set a timeout, let's say. And just comment this out. So we can copy it with them. What if we don't? Okay. And if I just click next, there we go. As you can see, again, it will do that again and again. See, that is unpredictable. That is because every time the state changes, as you recalled, this effect is being called side effect. So the side effect of the component render is inside this use effect. So what side effects do we want? We want to set a timeout that for every 2 seconds in the speed, we want to run the function of next because we are setting the slideshow to the next slide. And if you don't clear this, then when this component renders again while this timeout is running, then this will be called again. This timeout, there will be another timeout. And without clearing this timeout, when the render finishes, or let's say in one render we run this timeout, and then before this finishes we have another render. So that means the previous render has now been finished. That means that this will still run while the next side effect will run alongside this. That means it will cause this stuff you see in here, which is pretty much just a very ultra fast stuff. So now it's why we need this guy to clear this timeout. Excuse my dog. To clear this timeout every time the component unmounts. It's what they call it, unmount. Every time the component finishes rendering. So now if we just do this, and there we go, nothing happens at all. There we go. Okay, that is all. and I hope you like this. I am still learning, and I just wanted to share with you how you can manipulate stuff in React, or a state in React. And a good representation of that is a slideshow, because you can use effect as well to make an automatic slideshow, as you can see here. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will share with you the source code for this. And yeah, that's all.